Hello and good day everyone. My name is Siti Nur Fatiha and my team members Nur Shafia Zulaika and Ros Aliadini. Today we'll present about our findings of our study of contrastive analysis of an English and a Malay vlog in fake markets in Indonesia and in Malaysia. First, I'd like to begin by looking at how digital communication has evolved. Traditional online spaces like blogs rely almost entirely on written text to express personal voice. However, as digital platforms advance, we saw the rapid rise of video blogging, or we simply call it as blogging. And this has shifted online discourse into a highly multimodal and spoken domain. As linguist David Crystal points out, online language, or he coined a term called netspeak, breaks the traditional dichotomy of language, which is spoken and written form only. Instead, now online discourse acts as a unique mixed medium because it blends the spontaneity of speech with the formal structural traits of writing. And in travel vlogs specifically, this creates a dynamic platform with distinct communicative features. Creators rely heavily on visual storytelling to capture their surroundings, and they also use direct address with pronouns like you guys to speak straight to the viewer. And also they use real-time nonverbal cues such as facial expressions, tone, and body language. And all of these features work together to foster a deep sense of intimacy, authenticity, and community with their audience. Moving on, according to foundational discourse theories by Foucault, discourse is a structured system of social practices deeply intertwined with real-world actions like persuading, justifying, or building relationship. So systematically analyze how these practices vary across culture, our study utilizes contrastive analysis. So historically, it rooted in anthropology and crystallized by Robert Lado in 1957. So even though contrastive analysis was originally used to compare grammatical structures, modern research adapts it to interpret digital communication styles as well. So the purpose of our study is to look through this contrastive lens at travel vlogs in fake markets. By doing so, we can analyze how creators from different cultural backgrounds adjust their language structure, choice of vocabulary, or special expression to navigate market negotiation while staying true to their localized cultural backgrounds. But before we look at our data, I would like to provide an overview of the analytical framework used in this study. So to analyze cross-cultural online discourse, our study focused on three core linguistic domains, which are language structure, choice of vocabulary, and spatial expressions. So let's look at each item. The first item is language structure, which looks at how sentences are grammatically organized to shape perspective. For example, think of someone saying, jom pergi lunch. So here the speaker seamlessly insert an English noun at the end of a Malay sentence framework to reflect a multicultural identity. The second item is choice of vocabulary, which examines the selection of specific words to create meaning. An example of this would be choosing to say the word croissant instead of just bread. So by saying a cultural specific item rather than a broad term, the speaker instantly anchors the communication of a specific food from a specific place. And finally, the third item is spatial expression, which refers to the use of slang, idioms, or kinship terms to signal identity or build rapport. For instance, using the slang ghosted instead of saying they stopped responding to my messages does more than just conveying information. It immediately signals that the speaker is aligned with modern youth culture. So for the presentation, we only focus on language structure and spatial expression.
Good day to Dr. Puspa. My name is Nur Shafia Zulaika. Today, I will be presenting our analysis on language structure, specifically focusing on how speakers use language in online discourse. When we look at language structure, we are examining how linguistic elements are organized, how they form, and how they interact to create meaningful communication. In our study, we analyzed two vlogs, one by an English speaker and one by a Malay speaker, to evaluate how two specific linguistic features, boosters and code switching, are used effectively to convey messages to their target audiences. Let's start with boosters. Speakers use boosters to make their arguments more convincing, improve the credibility of their claims, and reduce uncertainty for the audience. In online discourse, boosters project confidence and certainty, which heavily enhances how persuasive a speaker is. Common examples include words like definitely, literally, and completely. We found distinct examples of boosters in both our selected vlogs. In the English vlog, the speaker says, "Here you can find absolutely everything." The booster absolutely is used to express strong certainty and capture the audience's attention. Because the English speaker is American, this reflects a low context culture which relies on a direct and explicit communication style. In this environment, the majority of the meaning is carried clearly within the verbal code itself, so speakers are highly direct. In the Malay vlog, the speaker uses the expression memang ada untuk semua orang. Here, the word memang acts as the booster to reinforce the truth of the statement. Culturally, this highlights a communicative style in Malay interaction that prioritizes reassurance. Speakers emphasize certainty in order to build trust and foster a sense of shared understanding with the audience. Next, we look at code switching, which is the act of switching between two or more languages or linguistic norms within a conversation. It is regularly used by bilingual speakers to deliver precise meanings, express cultural identity, and make interactions feel more natural and relatable. Our data revealed two different functions of code switching. In the English vlog, the speaker switches from English to Malay, saying to a local seller, "Thank you brother, terima kasih." The insertion of the Malay phrase terima kasih is a form of cultural borrowing. Rather than just translating a phrase, the speaker uses Malay as a politeness marker to build rapport, show cultural sensitivity, and establish a genuine connection with a bilingual Malaysian audience. In the Malay vlog, the speaker switches from Indonesian to English, saying, "Oh, kantor, office." Instead of using the standard Malay word for office, which is pejabat, the speaker uses the Indonesian word kantor while interacting with locals, followed immediately by the English equivalent office. This shows code switching acting as a cognitive learning strategy. It helps the speaker connect with new, unfamiliar vocabulary with familiar linguistic terms while showing openness to learning another culture. That is all from me. I'll pass this presentation to my group members.
Now, let's look at the analysis of our linguistic item, which is special expression, focusing on slang. So slang is a powerful rhetorical tool in travel vlogs because it allows creators to convey emotion and evaluate products dynamically while navigating in a fake market. So in the Malay vlog, the creator enthusiastically assesses a pair of counterfeit Prada sunglasses by exclaiming, "Prada bhai, cantik bhai." On the other hand, the American vlogger uses a colloquial expression when complimenting a counterfeit Louis Vuitton men's clutch bag, stating, "Man, this is sick." So according to 2011, these choices show that identity and subcultural alignment are active and being practiced in online discourse rather than just aesthetic reflections of one's background. So if we look closely at the Malaysian context, the slang term "bai" has evolved from historical ethnic markers into a versatile contemporary youth discourse markers. And the term "bai" is equivalent to bro or dude in English. And by repeating "cantik bai," the vlogger reduces social distance. And this relies heavily on the shared cultural proximity and communal intimacy inherent in collectivist communication styles because the vlogger is Malaysian. And by doing this, the creator successfully projects an aura of streetwise authenticity to the viewers. In contrast, the American vlogger uses the word "sick," which is a well-known lexical inversion from African American Vernacular English or AAVE. So in this context, a word with a negative meaning is inverted to signify impressive quality or excellence. Hence, in this context, "sick" means good or impressive. So because creators from individualistic background, because he's American, place a high distinctive online self-promotion and individual stance taking. So by adopting a globally recognized youth slang, it works beautifully for them. So by saying a fake LV bag as "sick," the vlogger infuses the interaction with a casual, high-energy modern aesthetics. So this bridges the gap between standard commercial transaction and global digital youth culture because it magnifies the item's appeal while performing a highly relatable traveler persona for their audience from all over the world.
Good day to Dr. Pushpa. I am Rose Aliadini and I will be presenting about kinship terms. So kinship is basically how people are related to each other through family ties by blood or by marriage. It includes close family members like parents and siblings as well as relatives gained through marriage such as in-laws. So kinship helps individuals comprehend their relation to one another in the family and the roles of responsibilities that they have. In both the English and Malay vlogs, kinship terms are used to address individuals who are not actual family members. Both vloggers employ this feature as a strategy to establish rapport and create a friendly atmosphere during interactions with shop owners. In the English vlog, the speaker says, "I wish you a good business, man. Thank you, brother," where the terms man and brother are used not to indicate actual familial relationships, but rather as informal forms of address. According to Henschel, kinship terms are frequently extended to non-related individuals in many languages as a way of expressing politeness, affection, and social solidarity. So by metaphorically including others within one's social family, speakers are able to build closer interpersonal relationships and create a more welcoming atmosphere. In this example, addressing the shop owner as man and brother reduces social distance and contributes to a relaxed and approachable interaction. Similarly, in the Malay vlog, the utterance "bagi diskaun RM9,000 lah kak" features the kinship term kak, derived from the word kakak, which means older sister. So kinship terminology in Malay culture is frequently used to address strangers as an acceptable form of politeness. The use of kak in this interaction reflects the collectivist values of Malay society, where maintaining good relationships and social harmony is highly valued. And this aligns with the findings of Awang et al., who state that Malay communication is often characterized by politeness, indirectness, and an emphasis on preserving harmonious relationships. So in the example, the speaker reduces the social distance and creates a sense of familiarity and warmth by referring to the shop owner as Kak during the bargaining process. And as a result, the interaction becomes friendlier and more personal despite the absence of a prior relationship between the speaker and the shop owner. So in conclusion, this study identified and compared three main linguistic categories, and those are boosters and code switching under language structure, cultural terms and fillers under choice of vocabulary, and slang and kinship terms under special expressions. Although this presentation focused mainly on boosters, code switching, slang, and kinship terms, the report also revealed interesting findings regarding cultural terms and fillers. So the findings show that both vloggers make frequent use of boosters to emphasize certainty and strengthen their messages, although the way they express this differs according to cultural communication styles. Code switching is present in both vlogs but serves different purposes. The English vlogger uses code switching to be more culturally appropriate and polite, while the Malay vlogger uses it as part of language learning and interaction. In special expressions, for slang, the English vlogger uses it to create a relaxed and globally relatable identity, while the Malay vlogger uses slang to reflect local identity and reduce social distance in interaction. For kinship terms, the English vlogger adopts informal terms of address to build friendliness and rapport, whereas the Malay vlogger employs kinship term to reflect collectivist politeness and strengthens interpersonal connection. And as mentioned earlier, our report also analyzes cultural terms and fillers. The findings reveal that the English vlogger tends to use cultural terms to create empathy quickly and show cultural awareness, whereas the Malay vlogger tends to use local expressions to show shared cultural understanding and familiarity with the setting. When it comes to fillers, the English vlogger uses them as an effort to cope with hesitation and maintain fluency in spontaneous speech, while the Malay vlogger uses filler as a strategy to soften statements and maintain a more natural and tentative tone in conversation. So all in all, when looking at both vlogs, it can be seen that culture, identity, and communicative purpose influence their choice of language. Thus, it can be concluded that these two vlogs, despite their different backgrounds, adapt their language and similar purposes and give an authentic travel experience in the online world.
Lastly, I would like to share our group reflection. This analysis gave us the opportunity to apply the principles of contrastive analysis to understand how language and culture are reflected in online discourse. By comparing the English and Malay travel blogs, we identified both similarities and differences in the use of linguistic features such as boosters, code switching, cultural terms, slang, filler, and kinship terms. Through this analysis, we gain a better understanding of how language choices are influenced by cultural values, communication styles, and the target audience. We also learned that vlogs are not just sharing travel experience, but they are also a platform for expressing cultural identity and introducing different cultures to viewers. Comparing the two vlogs showed us that even when discussing the same topic, speakers from different cultural backgrounds communicate in different ways. This helped us appreciate the important role that culture plays in shaping language and communication. In addition, this project increased our awareness of the importance of cross-cultural sensitivity, as some expressions and cultural references may be understood differently by audiences from different backgrounds. Overall, this experience strengthened our analytical skills and highlighted the importance of considering both language and culture when analyzing online discourse in today's global digital environment. Thank you.